let's start with our aerobic warm-up. We're gonna do a dance along to the Cupid Shuffle. So I'm just gonna go over it really quickly for anybody who doesn't know it. So it starts with 4 steps to the right. So you can kind of step, touch, step, touch, step, touch. And then you're gonna go back to the left, step, touch, step, touch, step, touch, step, touch. And then 4 kicks. So kick, 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 kick. And then you're just gonna kind of twist to go in the other direction. So again, 4 steps to the right, 4 steps to the left, and 4 kicks. And then shimmy to the other side, and then you repeat. So let's get going with music. So step, 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 step. Feel free to make it as big as you need to get as much of your heart rate up as you can. And if you're having a hard time, feel free to just dance. Maybe make it a little bigger. Feel free to freestyle. So you should be pretty warm now. So then we're gonna get into some mobility and then we'll end with some core exercises. So if you're like me and you're on pretty hard floor, you can grab a mat, but that's the only equipment that you'll need. And feel free to grab a drink of water if you need one too. Okay. So we're gonna start with big arm circles, going forward to back. Trying to extend all the way through the shoulders. And then from back to front. All right, we're gonna do some hip openers. So we're gonna do open the gates. So you're bringing your knee up and opening to the outside. So bring your knee up in front, open out, and we'll alternate. And then go from back to front. You might feel a little bit of rolling in your hip, which is pretty normal. As long as it's not painful, that's okay. And if it is painful, just do a little bit smaller circles. Perfect. All right. Let's do a little bit of neck circles to make sure the shoulders stay down. You're gonna roll your neck, going nice and slow. Just trying to draw a circle with your nose all the way around. And go the other direction. We're gonna do some wrist circles, just bringing arms out in front, going one direction, and then the other. Just trying to make it as big as you can. Good, and then you're gonna put your hands on your hips. We're gonna try and isolate just the ribs, just the upper body here. So doing circles around direction, trying as best you can so that the hips don't move, it's just the chest moving around. And then you're going to switch directions. Good. Doing the same thing with your hips, rolling. And again, trying not just to isolate the hips, try not to have the upper body move this time. And switch directions. And then maybe do some figure eights. So one way, and then try and do it the other way. Perfect. All right, so then we're gonna do a little bit more for our wrists. We're gonna go down on hands and knees. The more you're sitting back you are on your feet, the easier this will be. The further up you are, you're gonna put a little bit more weight on your wrists. So it'll be a little bit harder, so kind of adjust to what you need. But you're gonna do circles on the wrists in one direction. Switch directions. And then we'll also do this with our wrists pointing back. For this case, you may need to be a little bit more forward because the further back you are, the deeper of a stretch you're gonna get. So you might need to come up further if you don't have that much mobility in your wrists. But doing circles here. switch directions. Good. All right. Shake it out a little bit. And then I'm going to move to the side so you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. But feel free to face the same way as you have been. You're going to come kind of towards your back, wrist pointing towards your feet, knees are bent, and what you're going to do is you're going to push up into a bridge position here, and then coming back down. So we're thinking about engaging the glutes at the top, but you should also feel a nice stretch through your shoulders, so getting some shoulder mobility in. So push up as high as you can, and then slowly lower back down, nice and controlled. Two more, we're trying to hit 10. Good. All right, so then we're gonna come down into downward dog. So for anybody who's unfamiliar, you're on your hands, your feet are on the floor. You're trying to lift your hips up nice and high. Try and push your chest towards your legs as best as you can. You're gonna feel a stretch through your thoracic spine. And then you can just kind of push down into that stretch. You can kind of pedal out your feet to get a stretch through your calves. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring the leg up and around. Open up those hips a little bit more. And then switch directions. And then the other leg. Trying not to rock too much, but keeping the core stable. Into a nice open pike position, so legs are out straight, standing up nice and tall. And what you're going to do is you're going to try and think about lifting your one hip up and scooching that leg forward. So try to pick it up, scooch that leg forward as far as you can. And backwards. Remembering to keep your chest tall. As you start to get a little bit tired, you're going to want to slouch. Good. All right, so then you're going to come into a nice high lunge. So that means front leg is bent, back leg is nice and straight, really trying to extend that leg. Just from here, you're gonna start to feel your quads and your hip flexors stretching. And then we're gonna move from here into straightening that front leg to get more of a hamstring stretch in the back here, and then lower back down. And then from here, you can stay up tall in this hand, or if you have the flexibility, you can come down. You're gonna open come down, open, and come down. Good. So then, bring your left leg in front, sink down into that high lunge, coming straight leg, down into that lunge. Good. Then staying up tall, or you can bring the elbows down, twist, and drop. Okay. Next up, we're gonna come into a nice low squat. So you want your feet fairly wide. You might like your toes pointed out, depending on really your hip anatomy. So we're gonna come down into our squat. Then we're gonna lift our hips up nice and high, trying to straighten those legs, and then dropping down back into that squat position. Down in the squat position, you're trying to bring your chest nice and tall, and then dropping it down. Good. All right. Let's shake those legs out a little bit. So then, from here, we're gonna do Cossack squats, is what they're called. So you're in kind of a low lunge position, like a lateral lunge. So one leg is bent, one leg's nice and straight, and you're gonna use your hands just as much as you need to do a transition to the other leg, sinking as deep down as you can, and just switching back and forth. Feel free to use the challenge of no hands, or use as much assistance as you need from your hands. Even if you can do it without your hands, maybe sticking with the hands for now since we're still getting warmed up. One more on each leg. Good. All right. We're gonna warm up our shoulders a little bit more. So we're gonna start in a push-up position. So you can do a nice high plank, or you can also come down to your knees if you need that as well. But what we're gonna focus on is moving through our shoulders. So you can kind of drop your chest forward and sink down into your shoulders. And then we're gonna think about pushing up through the shoulders and really rounding through the top of your back. Just trying to push all the way through. And one more. Good. All right. So that's our mobility stuff. And now we're gonna get into some core strengthening. So, I'm getting warm. So, the first thing you're gonna do is we're gonna sit with our legs out straight in front of us. Again, thinking about sitting up nice and tall. And what you're gonna do is imagine that there's something right to the sides of each of your legs that you're trying to lift your leg up and over that. So coming up and over. And the other side. Sitting up nice and tall every time you want to start to slouch. This is helping to strengthen our hip flexors, which is really important for a lot of different aspects of our aerial. And 4 more on the other leg. Good. All right, so then we're gonna come onto our hands and knees. We're gonna have our wrists right under our shoulders, our knees right under our hips, and about hip width and shoulder width apart. Making sure we're not lax through our shoulders, but pushing up through and pushing down through the tops of your feet. You can start with just leg extensions, focusing on not letting your hips roll side to side like this too much. Instead, you're using your core to keep you really stable. If this variation is too easy, add in your opposite arm and still focus on keeping your hips nice and stable. And not letting your belly drop, staying nice and neutral in your spine. One more on each side. All right. Last thing we're going to do is we're going to hold a side plank. So doing that as long as you can. Feel free to be on your elbow with knees bent or legs out straight. But you're trying to push through your forearm and through your legs up into your side plank. Trying to have a nice elongated position here, not letting those hips drop. And think about squeezing your legs and your forearms together to even engage this even a little bit more. So about 20 to 30 seconds, or until you feel like your form is failing, and then go ahead and rest. And then you're gonna switch to your other side, putting that arm down, legs straight or bent, pushing up into that position, squeezing legs and arms together. And holding that 20 to 30 seconds or until your form starts to break down. And then you can go ahead and rest. All right, thank you for watching.